Sound Radio has come to Conwy County Council Gritting Depot. We're going to learn about how the gritting process is done across the county. Behind me is 2,000 tonnes of grit. Now we're going to find out how it gets on the roads.
The big sound of North Wales.
Sound Radio.
Okay, well, joining me here today is Peter Barton-Price. He wears many hats in Conwy County Council, but he is the man that is responsible, at present, we'll say, for deciding whether to actually treat the road surfaces across the county, or road grit as we call it. We've had many questions in of actually what to ask Peter, but some of the main ones we're going to go through, and Peter's going to try and answer them as best as he can. Okay, so Peter, everyone asks this question. How do you know when to grit?
Okay, well, we receive throughout the day weather forecast updates, giving us the air temperatures, the road surface temperatures, the likely weather events, whether there's going to be frost or ice accumulating on the carriageway. So that's kind of our baseline of where we look to carry out a gritting operation. From that, then we have our own intervention levels, and we have a winter maintenance action plan that swings into place. So we've kind of got those foundations that are underpinning any decisions that we make in relation to carrying out gritting operations.
So when you're actually treating the roads, like many people might think, why you're treating here when the sun is shining? It's all to do with the road surface temperature, and it might be warm in one place, but you've got to do the whole route.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the county is, as you know, is kind of vast, and it has varying heights, varying temperatures, whether it be coastal, whether it be rural. And a section of road will sit on a whole gritting run. So that weather can move across the county as it does. So when we've looked at the road surface temperatures and we've put those intervention levels in, it's at that point then that we'll make that call to carry out that operation. So it might be sunny, it might well look sunny, we might be losing heat through ground surface temperature, and our road surface temperatures are then falling away to our intervention and action levels. Yeah.
Oh, right. You're showing us here that there's actually a computer prediction there provided by the Met Office or meteorological forecaster. That helps you decide on whether to actually start treating the roads.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually looking at today's, which is kind of a real mixed pattern. Mother Nature tends to throw us a few challenges along the way, and today's no different. But we can see from this prediction the road surface temperatures falling away from kind of certainly from 1 o'clock in some of our domains, from midnight in others, and we're looking at a road surface temperature at present at -2. We'll get another update at 1 o'clock, and it's at that point for today's actions that we'll actually make that call and decide what we're going to send out, what amount of grit we're going to put down, and what routes and domains that we're actually going to undertake the gritting operation on.
Okay. Actually, how many actual spreading vehicles do you have just for Conwy County?
Okay, so we've got 10 gritters that are actually active out on our gritting routes. We run 10 routes, and we have, in case of emergency, 3 backup vehicles. Because once the operations are underway and the weather events are in, we've got to maintain safe carriageways.
How do you know how much grit to order? Is there any calculation in August, or is there a rule of thumb, or do you have to keep so much here?
Okay, well, what we tend to do is we'll look at the weather patterns over the last 7 years, and we'll ensure that we're stocked to those levels. Most of our weather events here in North Wales generally take place after Christmas, so we'll ensure that we've got that stock to carry us all the way through to when the weather predictions actually end, which is the end of April. So we're looking all the way through from October to April when we have a potential for road surface temperatures to fall below 0. So we'll keep that stock in place.
Very good. So when you actually decide to start spreading, one of the many questions is where do you get the actual feet on the ground, the men from? Where do they come from?
Okay, well, we've got our highways crews initially. Yeah. We're an open spaces department, so we are a multifunctional service deliverer. We've got a couple of our gritter drivers who during the summer are qualified horticulturalists and gardeners. Some of them are cleansing staff and our highways guys. So it's from our core staff that become our gritter drivers, and they're trained accordingly. And we also will take them route familiarisation.
So multi-skilled, I suppose. In the
Absolutely, yeah.
So any advice to motorists, first of all, following a gritter?
Yeah, I mean, what we'd ask is there's a rotating disc on the back which actually spreads the grit out onto the highway. So we just ask them to keep back. One of the biggest issues that we actually face, though, is when we're out and about on our routes, is parked vehicles or abandoned vehicles. Now, I appreciate, snowy conditions. People put themselves or get themselves into situations that it's not that easy to get out of. So the first bit of advice is if your journey's not necessary, please don't go.
Yeah.
If you are coming home and there's a weather incident and it's happening and it's taking place, please park your vehicles off the road if you can. We've got to get our gritters through.
Yeah.
And obstructions means we have to reroute these vehicles and bring them back to that point.
Is there anything that you could suggest to anybody who can report bad road conditions? Is there a way that they just ring Conwy directly?
Yeah, we've got an app, a report it app. We've also got then an out of hours service through Galligoval, and both those phone numbers and contact details are on our website.
Right, very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and have a look at the gritting operation. We're going to have a look around a gritter, and hopefully we're going to get a driver to show us how it all works. With snow forecast on the way, you might be seeing one of these on the roads near you. The first thing I notice with this is the actual size of them. I'm 6 foot tall, and look at the size of this. This is one of the biggest of the gritters that the Conwy Council has, but it is just massive. The wheels are almost up to here on me. They're big things, so give them a bit of room on the road. So joining me here is Ian. He is actually one of the drivers of the salt spreaders in Conwy County Council. He's just going to give us a quick explanation of what happens at the back end of a gritter when he's actually treating the road. So if you'd just like to talk us through how the salt makes its way onto the road, Ian.
All right then. So when it's full of salt, the salt runs on the belts in here, and it drops into the hopper and onto the spinner.
Spinner, yeah.
And this spinner, then maybe you won't see, but the spinner in here turns. And that's what spreads on the road. Yes.
What's this actual bit do? Is that if you just want?
It's when it fed in there, it falls in there. Like that, it comes over. If we got salt left after gritting,
yes,
we put that in there so the salt can get emptied back in the salt dump.
Okay, right. So that's what happens on the back end. We're going to take a look into the cab, and you're going to show us all the clever bits.
Yes, there's different grammage that comes out. So I'll just show that from the cab.
Thank you. So we're in the cab of a Conwy County Council gritter. Ian's now going to explain to us the actual clever end of how a gritter works and how he adjusts how much grit to place on the road and how it all works. So Ian, if you'd just like to explain to us what this piece of equipment is here and what you're actually doing as you're treating the roads.
Okay, well, when I finished on A55 earlier on, I was on 10 grams. So this figure here is 10 grams, which you can adjust to 5 and up to 40, I think it is.
So who tells you what grams?
They tell us that off the weather reports. 10 grams, 15 grams, 20 grams or whatever. And then there's different spread then for different types of roads. Like on the 55 there now, it's 7-8 meters, sometimes a bit less. It depends on the width of the road. So this one here adjusts the width of the spread of where the salt goes, and this is the spread pattern. That bottom line there shows where the salt is falling on the actual surface of the tarmac.
So as you're adjusting those things there, things are going on the back end to actually change the spread. You can change how much grit you're putting down, obviously what the office tells you to do.
Yes.
And how long could you be on a gritting run?
Well, it's sometimes got to go. You do a run which takes about 4 hours, and you got to come back, have a break, and go out soon again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the weather conditions.
Yes.
Yeah. And have you got any advice to motorists that might be following you, or what what's for their safety? You're only restricted when you're gritting. You told me you're restricted. Is it to 30 miles an hour?
Yes.
Even on the A55.
Yes. Yeah. When you're actually spreading, that's a maximum that it does. Opposite when the spread is switched off, it does about 50 miles an hour. But it's best to give the gritter driver a load of space behind. When the gritter comes on, it does throw it out, obviously, but it is kept on the low
spread. So you're not. It's quite a science of how the back end works. So drivers might follow you behind and think that there's grit going everywhere. It is being controlled.
Yes. You can see from being in the back how low the spread is.
That's right. Yes. So, and I see you've got a button there which says blast as well.
Yes. Where water's been running on the road and things like that, and it's absolutely frozen, we put extra salt on. Yeah. And that's just a blast, and then
a big dump of grit will come out for so long.
Yes. And then once you press it again on, that's just a press button on and off.
Yeah. So it's not as antiquated as what we might think at first. But thank you very much for showing us around. We're not going to keep you much more, because if this cold snap actually does hit us, you'll be very busy. And we do appreciate what you do, Ian. Keep up the good work. There's lads that have been called in to do road treatment and everything. They'll be out there. Listen to the advice they give you. It is for your safety, and we'll let Ian carry on. Thank you very much, Ian.
Many thanks. Thank you.
So now it's time for the team to leave the yard and start treating the roads. Thank you to Conwy County Council for allowing us to have a look at what gritting takes place and how it is decided of when to grit. Remember to check all social media pages and the County Council website to check when road surfaces are being treated and what to watch out for.
This is
Sound Radio.